40 episodes of this wonderful show. We're 10 away from 50 and 60 away from 100. That's quick math there for AG Russ.
Attaboy.
Not a boy. We haven't been here for all of them, but pretty daggum close. We've got a lot to talk about because we actually scripted the show. We're going to actually start scripting the show, which might actually help us with some clips and stuff. And that way, Barrett and Grant don't know what's going to hit them next. So let's start out with winners and losers of the week because we've got some stuff to talk about. We've had a lot happen. NBA trades. We had a Super Bowl. We have a new champion. We'll talk about that soon, and we also have some baseball returning back. But who wants to go first here? Anybody?
I'll go first.
All right,
I'll
Grant.
get mine over with. Mine isn't very special or anything. My winner is the team who probably got the biggest win in the country in NCAA basketball. Florida went to Auburn and knocked off the Tigers. I believe they're right now on ESPN. They are the fourth one seed, I believe, but it looks like it's a battle between them and Tennessee for the one seed. So I could see Florida easily getting it because they do have the best one in the country at Auburn. Auburn is seen as by far the best team in the country. So good for the Gators there. And my loser, I think everybody agrees with this. Nico Harrison and the trade situation. Not a lot of people agreed with the trade. And then I think yesterday or 2 days ago, AD got injured. I think he's out for a few weeks, possibly a month. So yeah, I feel bad for AD there. But Nico Harrison, not looking good there. He actually hired security for his house to protect him. So that's
Mm.
when he's very concerned. And so I just it's just a bad trade all around for him, and a lot of people are asking why he reached out to LA for that trade.
Also, Mark Cuban very upset about the whole ordeal.
And he sold
Oh,
majority, so he don't care that much.
yeah, he did do that. All right, I'll go with mine. My winner is Howie Roseman, the Eagles GM. Took a lot of chances on a lot of guys. We're going to talk about that here in a second, or I'll get more in depth on that. But he's my winner of the week. My loser is the casual football fans because my gosh, you got treated to a pretty boring Super Bowl if you were not an Eagles fan. Watching it, it was just kind of a defensive game for the Eagles. They dominated, really. I'm sure we'll talk about it more. Really boring. I found myself a lot of times just scrolling through TikTok. Really wanted to watch the halftime show. I don't know if it delivered like I thought it would, but I thought it was pretty good compared to other people's opinions. So there you go. That's my winners and losers. Barrett?
My winner gonna be the legend Dick Vitale. Came back after fighting off, I think, throat cancer, vocal cord, multiple surgeries. It's great to see him back in the announcing booth. It's great to hear him again. And then my loser is gonna be in that same game. I'm gonna go with Cooper Flag. He kind of got clamped. I'm not gonna lie by Shefflin from Clemson. Shefflin will be working at an insurance agency next year, and then
Yep.
he had a chance to steal it in the clutch. Came down and he slipped. So not a good night for old Mr. Flag. Although it didn't really matter for him, he's still gonna be the number one pick. So
Don't think anything in that game really affected his future earnings in his career. So there you go. Let's talk. Let's talk some football. This is the last week that football is going to go first because it's over. We're going to focus more on the off season, but we have two other sports that are getting underway: the MLB, college baseball, NCAA basketball, NBA basketball. So let's talk about the Super Bowl. The Eagles are the champions of the NFL. I forgot what league we're talking about. Jeez Louise. Like I said, boring game. Really a defensive masterclass. The Eagles' offensive line was non-existent. You put Joe Thuney there, who, while he did play, he was an All-American left tackle in college at NC State. Legendary pull right there. Got whooped. Just got flat out whooped by Josh Sweat and really the entire Phillies defensive line. I think the reason why Howie Roseman was my winner and loser is because he always kind of focused on the bigger guys. He took chances on guys on the offensive and defensive lines, and it paid off. We saw it with Mekhi Becton, and the Eagles' offensive line was labeled as a bust the last 2 years. Came to Philadelphia, really balled out for him and allowed Saquon Barkley to run for 2,000 yards. You look at the defensive side of the ball; he took a lot of chances on guys that Jalen Carter had I think he got a DUI before the draft. A lot of people passed on him. He was projected top 5 pick. Eagles scoop him up. He's been an all-pro guy and going to be probably a really good player for years to come. So that's why Howie Roseman was my winner. The Eagles flat out dominant. Anything else from you boys? Your kind of thoughts, opinions?
I was pretty surprised at the outcome, I'm not gonna lie. I had the Chiefs winning it. They didn't show up, in my opinion. They looked really bad. Travis and Mahomes looked just off the whole night. I don't know what was going on with them, but I mean, pleasantly surprised at the outcome, but very, very shocked.
Travis Kelce was non-existent. Will not be taking him on fantasy this year. Going to go ahead and announce that. He was always my tight end. He is no longer going to be my tight end. I'm moving on. But yeah, Patrick Mahomes, it also felt like I don't think he had been sacked that many times in his career. He had never been down by that much. It just kind of felt like they gave up really quick. It kind of felt like that the Broncos Seahawks Super Bowl when Peyton fumbled the snap on the first play of the game, and Denver didn't really do anything after that. Also, largest halftime lead, I think, of any Super Bowl, going all the way back to the Broncos and Redskins at the time.
The biggest lead I remember is 24-3, the Falcons and the
It's actually 28-3.
28 to
So
3.
Oh, sorry.
if you're gonna make a joke, you might as well get it right, buddy. And that was also the third quarter. So yeah, there's a Super Bowl. Congratulations to the Eagles. Philly celebrated as we expected them to. Saw a bunch of traffic lights and light poles go down. A couple of fires. A lot of fireworks. No rocket launchers this year though. So we'll maybe have to step it up next year. But let's talk about the Eagles quarterback. He won Super Bowl MVP. A lot of people didn't label him in the top 5 quarterbacks, maybe not even top 10 to some. A lot of people said they couldn't throw the football, just couldn't read the defense. I've always liked Jalen Hurts as a player. I always think that his story is pretty incredible for what he came from. But Giros, is Jalen Hurts a top 5 quarterback in the National Football League?
Yeah, I look at the list I made in the preseason, and I have him at 7, which I think that's about where he is.
Who
I
are
would
the other
take,
guys ranked ahead of him?
it was Stafford. I had C.J. Stroud. I had Burrow, Lamar, Allen, and Mahomes.
Okay.
So, I mean, when you look at Stafford, he didn't have as much talent as everybody else, and he still was able to win a playoff game. I think I would have Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, Lamar in any order, whatever you want. And then if I had, I'd probably take Daniels over him at this point, I feel like.
Ooh.
So, or maybe even a CJ Stroud. I feel like he had Saquon Barkley, and that helped a ton at the end of the day, you know. I mean, Hunter, look at Brock Purdy this year. He gets injuries and now he's trash, essentially, almost. So, I mean, when you look at that, I'd like to think Jalen Hurts, I think he is around that 7-8 range, but I don't think I can put him top 5 yet.
I completely agree with everything Grant said. I'm not even going to speak.
Wow. All right. There's your resident Commanders fan over there.
What do you think?
In my opinion,
This is gonna be good.
I think Mahomes is still number 1 just because he has won 2 Super Bowls at this point. He's been dominant. I think number 2 has to be Lamar. 2 MVPs. He's got the stats. Doesn't have the playoff record, but neither does Josh Allen, who's also just won his first MVP. Hasn't really done a whole lot in the playoffs. I mean, he's knocked off a couple teams, but hasn't made it to the big game yet. Then you get 4 through like 7, and that's interchangeable, really. I think let me explain first. Jeez, I don't want the daggum trumpets going off. Jane Daniels is a rookie. Yes, he did prove a lot. He led his team to the NFC Championship. He was surrounded by a lot of vets, which does help his case. I'm not saying that what he did was not remarkable. I'm was glad I was able to experience, but I would put him at like a 6 or 7, maybe 8, 6, 7, type ordeal, maybe 8. Stafford, I don't know yeah, he won a playoff game without a whole lot of help, but I'm going to put him on down the list. I think that Hurts, Burrow, Hurts and Burrow really tied for that 5th. Burrow, in my opinion, should be a top 5 quarterback in the league. He's got a top 5 wide receiver. He just doesn't have a defense and just doesn't really have the roster around him in Cincinnati defensively. Hurts, on the other hand, dominated in the playoffs. Yes, you have Saquon Barkley, and yes, you have a loaded defense, but without the guy there, the show doesn't go on, in my opinion. And I know GRS is going to say something really smart here in a second. It's going to piss me off. But I think Jalen Hurts is the 5, Burrow's the 6, Daniel's 7, and then it's a mess after that.
I mean, just look at everything Burrow did, and he almost made the playoffs. He led the league in passing, led the league in touchdowns. I think he led the league in completion. No, that was Lamar. Sorry, he led the league in he led it in some other thing. But I don't think if you put, I know you hate this conversation. If you put Burrow on the Eagles, and then you put her, I know you hate this, but I don't think you got to realize Burrow's the only person to beat Patrick Mahomes too. Or I guess Hurts, never mind. Well, I mean, like,
Brady
yeah.
Brady beat him too.
He's not in the NFL right now. He's calling the booth and doing a meh job. But you agree with me on that. You said it last episode.
Okay. I feel like he had a better Super Bowl.
I just think that if I started a franchise today, I would take Mahomes. I would take Lamar.
No. I'm not arguing against that. If I'm starting a franchise, but
okay, if you had to pick next season and you have like the 5th pick, I guess, associated, do you take Hurts before Burrow or Burrow before Hurts? Just for 1 year. I think 85% of people pick Burrow.
I for 1 year I would take Burrow.
Exactly. I mean,
Hurts,
I know, I understand you're a big
Burrow
system guy.
is the better player.
Burrow is the better player.
Yes.
But I think right now,
You
a day after the Super Bowl, I think he's a top 5 quarterback.
You prioritize system more than anything. You thought Brock Purdy was like a top 6, 7 guy at the start of the year.
Listen, I don't want to argue.
You know I'm right. You know me better, right? There's no planet where you're not taking the guy who led touchdowns.
I'm not saying that, but I'm saying right now. I'm saying right now, if there was a ranking, like you know how in tennis they have like a world ranking, you know, of like top players.
Yes,
golf too. Yes, I think Hurts moves up to the 5, just because he had a remarkable playoffs.
If Saquon Barkley's not on the team, do you take Jalen Hurts?
Well, I mean, he led them to the Super Bowl without Saquon. Did he not? In a worse,
who they play before that though? The NFC hasn't been good the past 3-4 years.
Listen,
but just say
we got a lot more to get through. I think he is. Juris doesn't think so. Who cares? It'll change next week because it's gone with the wind. It's how it works here. Let's go to the draft since we're talking about the offseason. NFL draft predictions. Do we all have one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Did their homework. Barrett, let's hear yours.
I think the Titans, with the number 1 pick, are going to take Abdul Carter from Penn State, edge rusher.
Wow.
A little bit of speculation there. It's not totally out of left field, but
no,
I feel like they could use a guy like Mr. Carter, and I think he'd help them.
For mine, I'm gonna go with the Saints here because resident Saints fan, even though they suck. I'm gonna say the Saints draft Tedditora McMillan out of Arizona. I think that when you look at Kellen Moore, what he had this year, he had 2 dynamic receivers. And you have Rashid Shaheed who can stretch the field, you can do all that. But the combination of Olave and Tedditora McMillan, who has been labeled as kind of sorry.
Who is going to throw them the football?
Because I don't think Derek Carr's going to be there.
Well, they can't trade up there at 9. They're not going to trade up there at 9. So, I mean, they really have no option. And I've seen a couple drafts or a couple mock drafts say McMillan, and I think that'd be a good fit with Kellen Moore. He has the two dynamic receivers in Philly. Alvin Kamara, he's not what he was once, but he's still a above average to good running back. So I would say the Saints are going to draft McMillan and try to. The Saints have recognized that's going to take more than 1 year to rebuild, so they're going to give Kellen Moore a couple years.
Okay. All right. That's not crazy. That's not crazy. I'm also going to go with Abdul Carter, but I'm not going to go he goes first overall, even though it wouldn't surprise me. I'm going to go he goes to the Browns at number 2. And here's why. Myles Garrett has requested a trade, and we're going to talk about his possible locations. But I think Cleveland really wants to keep him. I honestly do. And I think they're going to try everything this offseason. You're going to see Cleveland make a lot of moves this offseason, which is why I'm going to segue into this next part, but I'm going to explain that Abdul Carter real quick. The Browns do not have another pass rusher besides Myles Garrett. You pair him up with an elite guy in college, a young guy too, who I think is honestly going to be one of the best defenders in the NFL come in the future, barring injuries and all that. Hopefully that doesn't happen for him. You pair him with that, that's a dominant defense right there to a Cleveland Browns defense that, let's be honest, in the past has been relatively good. I think if you're trying to keep Myles Garrett, you draft a guy like Abdul Carter. And then, segueing, let me do this. Then you get a guy like Kirk Cousins, who the Falcons are planning to release next week. He pairs back up with his former offensive coordinator in Minnesota, Kevin Stefanski, in Cleveland. Listen, I think the Browns are going to go all in win now. You look at the wide receivers they have there. They have Jerry Jeudy. That's about it. But
Mid.
whoa, hold on now. Well, he didn't. He
He was
had
actually
a,
11th in fantasy this year.
he had a guy who literally came off his couch a couple weeks ago to throw to him. So let's be honest here. He hasn't had a guy like Kirk Cousins, who I think, in all honesty, fits the Browns better than he did the Falcons. Even though it hurts my heart to say that after we paid him and tampered for him. But there you go. That's why I think Kirk Cousins is going to go to Cleveland when he gets released, unless the Falcons decide to trade him, which I wouldn't mind it either. Maybe we get some stuff out of that. But Abdul Carter, Kirk Cousins to the Browns. Jesse, any thoughts on where Kirk Cousins might go?
Actually, I'm going to the Raiders just because they have Brock Bowers, they have Jacoby Myers, they have a couple of okay offensive pieces, if you will, and he can be a little bit of like a bridge quarterback almost to their.
Would he fit in Chip Kelly's offense though?
I mean, probably not, but I mean,
Will Howard sure did.
Yeah, but Will Howard could also
Run.
move a lot better than Kirk can.
I mean, made sense in my head. So,
All right, Barrett, any thoughts on Kirk?
I like the Browns after Hunter's kind of analyzed it. It makes the most sense. Probably will happen. But Raiders also did pop into my head just because they're kind of in need for a quarterback. But if I was a betting man, I would put my money on the Browns.
also, Hunter in the NFL, they slow it down. So, like, it's not like Chip Kelly's going to be running the same pace.
Yeah, no, I'm not.
As
I'm not saying that, but
that's what we're saying.
I just think it would make a whole lot more sense for Kirk to be in a system that he already knows. So let's talk about wide receiver that has requested trade. Deebo Samuel. He had a contract dispute, I think, last offseason. It got really messy. I think he signed a 1-year extension, I'm pretty sure, with the 49ers. Then he requested a trade the day of the Super Bowl or the day before. Kind of got overshadowed. I've seen a lot of people saying the Jaguars are possibly going to trade for him in a first-round pick swap. Don't know why they would. Really don't understand it unless you just want to pair Trevor Lawrence up with a pretty good wide receiver who did battle injuries this year. This doesn't really surprise me. The 49ers haven't been able to do it the past couple years, even with a loaded roster. Then you have a bunch of injuries this year. It kind of makes sense for him to request a trade while he's in the height of his career. I could see him going some other places, but you also have to remember Stephon Diggs is also a free agent this year. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see how the wide receiver market looks and see where he might end up. Jiros, any thoughts, or Barrett, any thoughts on this?
I could see him going to, assuming Tyreek Hill retires, I think he could fit well in the Dolphins system because they use
Okay.
so much motion. They give their receivers a lot of carries. So I think on paper that makes sense.
Okay.
Uh,
I was waiting on you. You had your mouth open. I thought you were going to say something.
no. I saw some. I don't know. This is just hypothetically. I saw something on the old Instagram today.
Oh, yeah?
It was, I believe, it was literally a swap of Cooper Cup and Debo Samuel.
I mean, yeah, it's not the
I
worst idea.
didn't think it makes. I think it would make sense for the 49ers, but not
Yeah.
necessarily for the Rams.
No, not. I don't think Debo fits that style of. I feel like Puka does a Debo Samuel-esque job in that offense. So Cooper Cup to the 49ers, that makes
Yeah.
a whole lot of sense, though, because that's what they kind of need, in my opinion. But yeah, let's talk about two other guys. Speaking of Cooper Cup, actually, Myles Garrett and Cooper Cup, both out there on the trade market. I already am going to predict where I think Myles Garrett's going to go, which I think he's going to stay in Cleveland, in all honesty. But Cooper Cup, I don't really know. I don't know. He's what, 30? He's 30s, I think.
31.
31. He's got a really not so great contract for a guy that, honestly, the numbers have not been there. I don't know what team would want him, in
I
all
think
honesty.
him and Kirk Cousins are going to team up on the Raiders because those two seem like they would be. Those two seem like they would be
Are you secretly
teammates.
a Raiders fan here, G-Russ?
Am I secret? It just makes sense in my mind.
have a
It
lot.
just makes sense in my mind. I mean, that's not the worst thing I've ever said. I mean, they seem like they would both play well together, I feel like. I mean, does
Yeah,
that not kind
they
of
would
make
play. They
sense?
would play well together. I don't know how the Raiders would get a guy like Cooper Cup unless you trade some
Well, they've got
future.
a pretty high first round pick this year.
Sam Darnold's also,
And he also is a free agent.
yes. So I think like, because there's been like, there was this rumor like halfway through the season between the Rams and the Vikings that they would just swap quarterbacks because Vikings were trying to go all in, and then the Rams were thinking about rebuilding. You've never heard this. Of course, you haven't heard this. Um, yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. So
Barrett, your thoughts?
I mean,
Stupid.
this is pretty biased as well, but I think Myles Garrett, if he doesn't stay in Cleveland, will end up on the Commanders. No, hear me out. Okay, I saw something yet again on Instagram, but this one is actually
Oh, yes.
realistic.
I saw mine on
Commanders,
Instagram too.
I follow quite a bit of Commanders pages, and one of them said that Adam Peters, based off of the success that we had this year, is going all in on, kind of a win now team, and is really looking to pursue defensive stars. I think Myles Garrett kind of checks the box on that one. He's got the highest odds right now from Vegas to land on the Commanders outside of the Browns. I like it. I think we need another guy to team up with Deron Payne and Jonathan Allen. Why not?
Why not?
Hunter, you looked a little puzzled when Barrett said that Myles Garrett was the defensive star.
No, I was actually reacting to a message that I was just sent.
Okay,
So
well, I just looked and you're like,
I am not arguing.
okay. I was about to say,
I'm not arguing with that.
don't wanna.
There you go. That's the NFL this week. We went 25 minutes, basically 25 minutes of NFL stuff, and we've still got two other sports to talk about, G-Ross. Look at that. You said you wanted longer episodes. Doing it for
I
you,
wanted
baby.
more organized episodes.
Oh, yes. Well, let's talk about your Lakers, G-Ross, since you're a LeBron fan, but you're secretly a Lakers fan.
No, I'm not.
All right. Sure you are. Luka makes his debut tonight. We have not watched it yet because we're filming a little bit early. Hindsight 2020, we probably should have watched it. But, G-Russ, since your Lakers are playing tonight, I mean, your LeBron your Los Angeles LeBrons are playing tonight with Luka Doncic. I mean, what are you thinking here, buddy?
The Lakers have actually won 9 of their last 10, so we're actually, making progress in that department. Feel like we've been around 500 for the past 3 years.
He on the team, bro.
Me and LeBron. So that is a good time. It's the Jazz. It should be an easy win. LeBron has shown he can play with all types of superstars in his tenure. I think I'm interested to see how Austin Reeves fits into this. He's also somebody who likes the ball in his hands. He had 45 a couple of days ago, so I'm interested to see how that looks. I think Luca. I don't know if I'd be surprised if he played a full 35 minutes. So I think he'll play around 28 or so, and I feel like he's either going to do really good or he's going to shoot really bad. But I think they're gonna ease him into the Lakers system.
All right, Barrett.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch it too. Yeah, I don't know. I'll be interested to see how the lack of center depth kind of plays into a fact for the Lakers. It probably won't be as evident tonight as it will be, other bigger games. As Grant said, they are playing the Utah Jazz. However, they do have Walker Kessler, who is no slouch of a big man. But yeah, I think it'll be just interesting to see how Luka and LeBron kind of team up together, how Reeves, how Connect, how those supporting cast people kind of mesh together. I'm not expecting it to be all glitz and glamour like some people are expecting it to be right off the gate.
I'd agree there. Speaking of Lakers centers, Mark Williams had the Aaron Rodgers New York Jets. Saw a lot of memes of him carrying out the flag, running out for his first game. The Mark Williams era on the Lakers. The trade was rescinded. It was Dalton Connect, and I think
Cam Reddish.
Cam
Reddish
Reddish.
for Mark Williams, who's one of the best young centers in the NBA. Trade was made, then rescinded because Mark Williams failed a physical. Can't be doing that, Jew Russ.
Nope.
So the Lakers do need a center, as the meme goes. Who the Lakers going to get, Jew Russ?
There's been a lot of talk of converting two-way contract Christian Coloco to just a normal NBA contract. I think you need more than that. He's very similar to Jackson Hayes. We need a bigger post, I'd say. I read something today where Clint Capella might be available for getting bought out, which I would love. I love Clint Capella for some reason. I don't know why, but Barrett may know that. But overall, it's looking like they're gonna convert Coloco maybe. Dwight Howard has said on Twitter he is a podcaster now, so he will not be coming to LA. So it'll be interesting to see. They'll be in the market for a bunch of biopics.
There you go. Barrett, as for the rest of these, as for the guys in the trade, how do you think Dalton Connect and Cam Reddish are feeling right now, not knowing that they're not going to Charlotte?
I mean, I think if I'm Cam Reddish, I'm pretty excited about that. You're going to be on more of a contender. If I'm Connect, I think you can either look at it one of two ways. You can understand that it's a business, and I think Dalton is mature enough and old enough to kind of understand that. However, he's still a rookie. I mean, yeah, it'll just be really interesting to see how, not necessarily meshing with the players. I don't really think I have a problem with that, but it's just going to be, does he feel he needs to prove something to the front office? Is he playing on a chip with his shoulder? And that can either be a good or bad. I've seen it, players in my experience playing basketball, it can be a good thing, it can be a bad thing. So we'll see how Connect handles it. I think, just based off what I've seen from him playing at Tennessee, he goes about things pretty professionally. And I think he'll understand that the Lakers were in need of a big guy, and he's pretty highly valued by some NBA teams, so he'll understand it. It's a business, and just go about it the rest of the season like usual.
I think he also knew that he was probably going to get traded. I mean, basically everybody around the league kind of knew that he was going to get traded, or
Yeah.
the possibility was there. Charlotte also wanted to draft him. I saw a lot of clips coming out when that trade happened that Charlotte did want him. I think he would have done really well in Charlotte. I think it might have been a better career move, but I think he's going to ball out. He's going to keep playing like he has been, and there you go. We're going to go off script here because I did forget about one guy signed to the other Los Angeles team. Ben Simmons is back in the NBA.
He never left.
He never left, actually. But he's back playing in the NBA, as we should say. He's on the Clippers now with James Harden and Kawhi. New big three, as they say nowadays.
Sure.
Yeah.
This deal doesn't make any sense to me. I don't really understand.
I think if he could find the right place, like I think he'd be okay. He's averaging 6, 6, and 7, so like his rebounds and assists are there. I just don't. He's obviously just not a very good scorer. I think that's his thing. And now he's just the joke of the NBA. So
Yeah.
LeBron James, move out of the way. Ben Simmons is here.
LeBron, the right. Ben Simmons is here.
Simmons is here.
Oh,
Love that clip.
all time. Colin, what was his name? Colin Coward.
Yeah.
Idiot. Brandon Ingram is heading to Toronto, right? Toronto? Yes, Toronto.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's paired up with my
The 6.
whoa, be careful. You can't be saying all that now after you got dissed last night. Make a paint a 6 on a pinky toe. Heard you was a shooting guard. Sorry, just bars. Paired up with my favorite player, Scotty or Barney, as he's known in the 2K world. He's my favorite non-Celtics player. I love Scotty Barnes. I honestly do. What, Juros? Say something.
What do you like about his game? What was he good at?
I just like
What was he good at, Hunter?
I just like his off the court antics.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I like when he fell into the I like when he fell running out to the game and also running out to the court, I should say. But yeah, I forget who they traded him for. I think I don't know.
Nothing worth noting.
I don't think it was a
Nothing.
lot. Yeah.
I think it was Bruce Brown.
Yeah, Bruce Brown's in there.
Bruce Brown and someone else. I know the Hawks made a trade.
DeAndre Hunter.
Yeah, DeAndre Hunter to somewhere.
They made 2.
Yeah.
DeAndre Hunter's on the Cavs.
And they traded
Bogdan Bogdanovic is on the Clippers.
Yep. Marcus Smart got traded to the Wizards along with Jonas Valanciunas. Jonas Valanciunas was traded to the Kings.
Valanciunas to the Kings, yes.
So there was a couple other names flipping around. But yeah, Brandon Ingram on the Raptors. Don't know what's going on in New Orleans. I guess it's just not working out down there. You trade DeJounte Murray. You got DeJounte Murray. There's his Achilles. Brandon Ingram gone. Zion Williamson getting bigger and bigger.
Looking like Hunter.
Although Zion did drop 40 the other night. So
Zion's
did he play the next game?
He probably did not play the next game.
That performance up?
Listen,
I'm joking.
Juris is very aggressive tonight, and I don't understand why. I don't know what's going on.
Well, when you try to tell me Jalen Hurts is better than Joe Burrow, that makes no sense.
Oh yes, he's in an arguing mood tonight. I can tell. But let's switch to baseball. Professional MLB baseball, Major League Baseball. Pitchers and catchers reported today as the start of spring training is this week. Me and Juris and Barrett pretty excited. His Dodgers, the Braves, and the Yankees.
All 3 good teams.
All 3 good teams. Who would have thought?
One pays triple the other 2. And actually, one plays. You both pay more.
Whoa! He pays a lot more than I do.
Dodgers pay a lot more than we do. Per year is like
Money
21
talks.
million.
You gonna do the tongue thing?
I'd rather not.
All right. But let's get on to our way too early MLB predictions. Y'all, who wants to go first? Because I'm sure we've all got an
interest. I'll go first.
All right.
I'll go first. All right. I'm going to toot my own horn first because, and I'm also a homer in the situation. Last year, I wrote an article, and the 2 people who I said would finish top 3 in the Cy Young did finish top 3 in the Cy Young.
Eric Skubal.
Eric Skubal and Emmanuel Clase. Yeah. So I'm gonna say I'm a Braves homer. So I'm gonna say y'all don't know who this is probably. Spencer Schwellenbach will finish
Schwellenbach.
top.
Bacher.
Yeah, you know.
We
He
know
is
who he
going.
is.
Okay, I didn't know because Hunter just lives in his
You don't know
Yankee
who he
world.
is. Trust me.
I was just making sure. So what? So last year he had a 3.3 ERA. Played 21 games. He went 8-7. His metrics look great. He's 96 percentile in chase rate. 95% in walk rate. So and based off of what I've listened to on stuff about the Braves is that his luck rate was bottom 10%. So basically, he was in very bad situations. And so his projected ERA was, I think, 2.87. So if he can put up numbers even close to that, or maybe his luck rank could be high, he could be finished top three or even top five in the Cy Young. So I'll go with Spencer Schwellenbach will finish top three in the Cy Young.
All right. Fair.
I'm gonna be honest, boys.
You don't
This one
have
kind of slipped my mind.
Don't worry, it did me too, but I've got one. So
Well, okay, if we're gonna go with our home teams here, I could probably come up with something. So Hunter, how
I'm
about
not.
won the World
I,
Series.
okay, Hunter, how about you go first and I will come up with something
I'm
Dodgers
actually
related.
not going with my home team, but I am going with the same division. Shane McClanahan was injured and then didn't really have a great year last year. AL Cy Young. That's my prediction.
Okay.
Shane McClanahan dominates the league, the American League at least, and he wins the Cy Young on a mediocre race team. Barrett.
You know what? Give me a team and I'll make a prediction about them.
All right, the Cleveland Guardians.
Okay, let's keep it the NL here.
Cardinals.
Washington Nationals.
Cardinals, okay. Obviously, their pitching is not very good. They're very old, but they do have Sonny Gray, and they do no. I'm trying to actually rebuild them on MLB Show a couple weeks ago. So my Cardinals
Oh,
knowledge
yes.
is pretty good.
Oh, there you go.
Obviously Mason Wynn is actually Alec Burleson will be their breakout player.
Okay. All
The
right.
dude,
Like
the
that,
dude,
Barrett.
the dude rakes.
He does.
Yeah, I think he could be probably like 40 home runs a year. Maybe
Okay.
35.
Slow down.
Maybe
a little bit.
35. 35 plus 35 bombs around there from Alec Burleson this year.
There you go. There's your MLB predictions. We're gonna get more into MLB as spring training comes about, and MLB The Show 25, less than a month away. Your boy's excited. Been playing a lot of Diamond Dynasty lately. Got 99 Willie Mays today. Clutch card. But let's go to college sports here. We're actually gonna go college baseball first, so we're gonna flip the two college sports just because it'll transition better. But opening day of college baseball is this week. The defending national champions, Tennessee Volunteers, take on some random D2 school.
Hofstra.
Yep, there you go.
They're not random. They had the GOAT last year in
Shut
basketball.
up. Shut
Darlin
up.
Stone Dubar.
I do like me some Dubar, so I'm sorry. Dubar might be my guy. I do like Dubar.
He's my guy.
Scott Chucker.
You know about the mixtape I've seen now.
He's no Bishop Boswell.
Anyways.
Opening day is here. College baseball. We love it here. We do enjoy college baseball, especially in the town of Knoxville. But also in the SEC, we all love some college baseball. But does college baseball need more respect?
I think it does. I mean, I think it obviously since Tennessee was not very good, now they've gotten pretty good. It's been a lot more exciting. But I mean, if college basketball and college football get kind of the hype that they deserve, why not college baseball? It's really exciting. You had some really, I mean, SEC wise, you had Christian Moore, Cags, Condon, some really, really good names who were exciting to watch. I mean, I think it needs to be up there.
Juris?
I'm not as big on college baseball as Barrett. I'm more of the MLB guy here, but I don't have a problem with it. Yeah, why not? Why shouldn't it get more love? So yeah.
I think
don't
it
know.
does need more respect, but it's for like the middle of the country. Like middle of the country and up
Yeah,
north.
it's only a Southern
It's
SEC
a
thing.
Southern and really a
ACC, SEC are the
it's
only
a
two.
it's an and on the West Coast. I mean,
Yes.
USC, UCLA, those are bigger schools too. I mean, Southern really ACC, SEC, and what was the Pac-12, but now Big Ten and Mountain West ball, which is a little weird, but those two. Yes, Grant.
Actually, I'll tell you after. My laptop's at 3%, so yeah, I kind of gotta.
Okay.
I'll be back. I was just letting you know.
All
I'm
right.
gonna
Well,
get the charger.
go
Keep yapping.
charge. All right. College baseball. I don't really know what else to talk about college baseball wise, but we can go ahead and switch to basketball. Because who's going to take the Indiana job? Barrett, because Mike Woodson would
Yeah, Mike Woodson stepping
Mike
down
Woodson.
next year.
Yep, announced he's stepping down. I have a guy in mind. It might be the same guy. I feel like it.
Go for it. I'd like to hear this.
I think the guy that is most likely going to take it is probably Chris Beard. You look at what he's done at Ole Miss, a predominantly non-basketball school. He's kind of made them into an interesting team, a team that's hard to play, a team that's relatively good. I mean, you look at Chris Beard and what he's done at other places. At Texas Tech, he had the place rolling. Then at Texas, if he didn't get in trouble, he probably
They
still
were
has.
really good.
He probably is
Definitely
maybe a
has the
national
job.
championship. And then Ole Miss, I mean, he's done a really good job there in this short time. How long has he been there? 3 years? 4 years? 3
This
years,
is
I
his
think.
second year.
Second year. So, I mean, he's done a really good turnaround job there. I mean, last year they weren't as competitive, but I mean, they still would show
They
up
were
every
ranked
once.
at one point
Yeah, they
last year,
were
though.
last year, but they kind of surprised a lot of people. I think that he's the best candidate for it. If you're looking for a guy to build a program back up like Indiana, which has the history, plays in the Big Ten, I feel like he could do really well in the Big Ten. So, Barrett, who's yours?
I'm going to go with a little bit of a curveball here. I'm going to go with Will Wade from McNeese State. Kind of the godfather of NIL, some might say.
My
But
dad actually coached with him at Tennessee.
there you go. I think Brandon McCormick will be hired on as director of basketball operations.
It's been a while. Dusty books in the dusty coaching books in the closet.
But anyways, I mean, Will Wade, he was really good at LSU. He's really good at McNeese State right now. They'll probably make the tourney again this year, in my opinion. I know he's kind of more of a Southern guy, similar to Chris Beard, but I feel like if the money calls, we know he's a big money guy. I think he might take the job up there. Also, Bruce Pearl is another name to kind of watch with that. I don't know if he would leave Auburn. I feel like he might. I don't know. I'm kind of torn about that.
I mean, he's getting older.
He is.
I think he's one of those guys that's kind of looking to stay somewhere.
Yeah. Maybe they hire Stephen Pearl.
Yeah, sure. All right, buddy.
We are changing locations.
My dad is not.
I don't have a USB blocker.
Brandon's not a big fan of Stephen Pearl after he started over an All SEC player. I forget his name here at Tennessee, but there you go. Juris, who do you think is going to take the Indiana job?
Indiana job? Oh shit.
Yeah, I said Chris Beard. He said Will Wade.
If he's looking to move back up, which I don't know if he is, Shaka Smart. Just because, but I think he's like, was he fired from Texas or was it kind of like
it was a mutual. No,
Mike
he took
White
the Marquette
situation.
job. He took the Marquette.
Was it like
job.
a Mike? Is it Mike?
I think
White
it was
situation?
more of a Mike White situation though, but he was going to get fired. But
yeah, that's the first guy comes to my mind. But I mean, that's all I got.
I feel like that's sort of the least realistic of them, though. I'll be honest.
That is. But
who'd y'all say?
I said Chris Beard. He said Will Wade.
Will Wade makes sense.
Okay. But Giros, go ahead and talk about Marquette because last time I checked, they're your cold team. Am I right?
Yeah. Yeah. They've lost 3 straight. Cam Jones is doing the best he can to stay afloat, but the Big East is always. Okay. And then you want me to do my hot team?
Yeah, do your hot team, buddy.
Yeah, I guess so. Going back to Going back to Ole Miss, what Bear was talking about earlier, that was Alabama's last loss. They've won six straight. Sorry, after that loss to Ole Miss, so they're kind of the hot team right now in the SEC outside of Florida, who beat Auburn. Some thought they would jump, but I think to number one. But I think overall with Auburn in their resume, you kind of have to keep them at one. So Alabama's on a hot streak right now, though. They're number two.
Barrett.
Okay, yeah, my hot team coming out of the state of Kansas, not the Jayhawks, but however, it is going to be Kansas State, the Wildcats. Drum Tang has got them playing some pretty good basketball right now, kind of similar, or kind of what people thought they were going to be earlier in this year. Obviously, Coleman Hawkins is kind of their main guy, one of the highest paid basketball players in college right now. He's playing like the price tag on his head right now. Also, point guard Doug McDaniel comes over from Michigan. Pretty electric player, in my opinion. He's playing really good, distributing the ball. And their support players are playing good. They got the Amarillo Armadillo. I don't know his real name, but he can shoot the lights out. Yeah, so Kansas State rolling right now. I'm not sure who they play next. They knocked off the Jayhawks this past weekend and kind of beat them pretty good. So yeah, that's my winner and or that's my hot team. And then my not hot team also comes out of the Big 12. I'm gonna go with the Iowa State Cyclones. Otzelberger's boys have not been playing that bad. Big 12 is a very tough league to play in, but they have lost three of their last four. Had a good bounce back win against TCU this past weekend where they 30 pieced them, so that was good. But previous to that, they did lose to Kansas, I believe, and two other pretty solid teams, but it's not what they were hoping for. They're just being a top 10 team, so they're a little cold right now, but they're going to bounce back. I'm pretty certain.
Despite my lack of NCAA basketball knowledge, because my cycle of football is now over, it will shift now to basketball. Trust me, I will get my knowledge up before March. Um, we're actually going to go with the Big East, not the SEC, even though that's the only conference I have been really watching. We're going to go with the Big East. These two teams played each other, which is why I really paid attention to it. But listen, I'll be honest. My not loser, but I guess who's not hot is the UConn, the Huskies, not the Huskers. That's Nebraska. The Huskies won the national championship last year. I think was 19. They've dropped out of the AP poll this year. Can't name a single player on their team, but I know Dan Hurley has lost his mind multiple times this year. Kind of made a fool of himself, in my opinion, even though that is his kind of style. UConn just doesn't really have the talent like they have the past couple years, and it's showing this year because in the Big East, one team has been dominating, and that is the St. John's. Who are they? The St. John's what?
The Johnnies.
The
Yeah.
Johnnies. There you go. The St. John Johnnies with Slick Rick up there. If there's one man my dad does like to watch coach, it's Slick Rick. Doesn't like him as a person, but likes him as a coach because the man has got St. John's rolling. I think they're 21-3. I think something like
Something
that.
like that. Only one conference loss.
One conference loss, and like he said in the interview the other day, if you would have told me that St. John's is 12-1, who explicit did we lose to? So I think that he can win it all there. In all honesty, they have talent there. It looks like the boosters are going to be paying. St. John's could be a team to look out for. I mean, I think they moved into the top 10. I think in the AP polls today, if I'm not mistaken.
Thinking 9.
Yeah, 9. Possible national championship team in St. John's. They're just going to be tough to play just because they're so well coached. But yeah, that's my hot team. That's my cold team there. One last basketball thing. Does North Carolina need to change? North Carolina and Duke played last week, I think. Duke blew them out. It just didn't feel the same. It wasn't very exciting. ESPN tried to hype it up. It's Duke, UNC. No one, I think everybody knew who was going to win. UNC is just not the same team ever since what was his name? Williams?
Roy.
Roy Williams. Yep, there it is. There's a lot of Williams coaches out there, and they get kind of confusing after a while. After Roy Williams retired, and then what's his name took over.
Hubert Davis.
No, there he is, Hubert. Ever since Hubert took over, the team hasn't really been the same. Giros, your kind of thoughts on the does North Carolina need to change?
Maybe I don't know. I mean, North Carolina is obviously a basketball school, so they may try to force Davis out. But I mean, they have pieces. They have a lot of talent. They have RJ Davis. They have Elliot Kadu. They have Seth Trimble. Is it Seth? Yeah, they have Seth Trimble. They have talent there. I don't think their front court is very
Their front
great.
court's terrible.
Yeah, their front court is terrible, according to Barrett. So, I think that that's their biggest thing right now. And in college basketball, a lot of times the best players in the country are posts. Like when you look at people like Hunter Dickinson, who's been in the league forever. He's big, he's physical, and so I think that if they gave him another year, I think they could be decent, especially if Elliot Kadu takes the next step.
Barrett?
No, Hubert Davis is not the problem. Like, I mean, Grant said it, their starting center is Van Allen Lubin, who came over from Vanderbilt. They missed out on a lot of good centers in the transfer portal. Jalen Washington was a guy that they thought was going to really take the next step forward. He's pretty soft. So they're not looking, they're starting Drake Powell, who's a shooting guard. He's their starting power forward right now. So if you're looking at that, I mean, they lost Baycott, and they were really good last year with Baycott. They have the guard. That's not their problem. They just need that good center in the middle. And I mean, Hubert's taking them. He's taking them to the Final Four. Last year, they were in the Sweet 16. The success has been there. They're just having a down year because they're not able to, contend in the paint. So yeah, I just think they need to go spend some money this offseason. They'll be all right.
There you go. And they got money to spend. So
They do indeed.
do indeed. Let's talk a little golf because golf has started back up, even though Barrett, not a big golf fan. So this might just be a me and G Russ conversation here. But the People's Open was this weekend, G Russ. It might be my favorite event on the tour. I'm sure Barrett would enjoy this, the Waste Management Open. I mean, it's
You would
pretty
love that
electric.
16th hole, 17th, whatever it
It's
is.
pretty 16th.
Okay, that's fine.
It's pretty electric. We saw a lot of guys. I think Spieth was up there. He's tied for second. I think he finished. Did he finish
Scheffler had a
second?
good. Scheffler was like 400 through 7,
Yeah,
and then he fell apart.
Yeah, Scheffler fell apart. So first one of the year. Didn't expect him to. I mean, he had the 7th best scoring adjustment, I think, of all time, right?
Behind Tiger.
Behind all 6 of Tiger's.
Yeah,
so.
all 6 are Tiger.
But yeah, the Waste Management Open. Alex Dietrich, I think. Is that his
Thomas.
name? Thomas
I
Dietrich.
think it's Thomas. Yes.
Or it might be Thomas because I think he's from Belgium.
Yeah, he's Belgian.
First Belgian player to win it. He won. I know there was a couple other guys. The Waste Management, it's just a really fun event. They don't really care. You hit a hole in one on 16, they just trash the course. I see a lot of old white dudes on Twitter being like, "This is not what golf's supposed to be." Who cares? It's fun. I enjoy it. I think it's awesome. So there you go. I like the People's Open. I'm sad to see it go, but this coming weekend, is the Genesis, and Tiger Woods, who did lose his mother, I think on Saturday. I think she passed away. Big part of his career, big part of his life. She passed away, and he announced today that he's just not ready to play yet. And this is kind of Tiger's event. It's what he's known for, the Genesis. He's always known for kind of dominating it. It's known as an easier course on the tour, depending on the weather. It's a beautiful course too. I always like the views at the Genesis, but Tiger Woods said he was going to come out for this one. He did not, which is understandable. You lose your mom, very understandable. So yeah, did you have any thoughts there?
Yeah, I mean, this is a big loss for him because both his parents were huge aspects of why he got into it. His dad, I think, was like professional in like his area maybe or something, and his dad always coached him really hard. And so when you hear like the stories and like the interviews for Tiger and what all his parents did for him, they took out second mortgage just for him to play the junior tour, and they did so much for him. So I feel bad for Tiger, losing one of his most important role models in his life, not just his mom, just a great person from what everybody says, and I hope that he's able to tee it back up soon.
There you go. But we will be watching the Genesis Open. Me and Dress, maybe. Barrett, I don't think Rick.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I think Scotty is in this one. I could see Scotty possibly getting his first one of the season. Maybe. Depending on who's hot. I could also see Max Homa, who did have a pretty good Waste Management Open. He's also my guy.
You a homosexual?
Some may say.
Mm,
Since John Rahm is in
that's
the
his
Liv.
fan club.
Possibly the Liv merging with PGA. Trump getting some talks in there. So we'll see that soon. But anyway, that's been episode 40. Sorry it's been longer. Last episode I think was 15 minutes. We added 41 minutes to this one. Jesus loves you. Watch sports. They're fun. We enjoy them. And we'll see you Wednesday. Right, boys?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Wednesday. Peace out. See ya. Shout out Barrett's mom for coming in and crawling back out.
Whitney?
What up? Peace out. Bye.